This week's Torah portion includes the iconic scene of Moshe, meeting God at the burning bush. And they have a long conversation. God tells Moshe his plan. His plan is for Moshe to assume the leadership of the Jewish people, to go back into Egypt and to lead the Jews out of Egypt into the promised land. But Moshe resists. He has all sorts of objections. He explains to God, the Jews won't believe me. He explains, I'm not articulate. And God patiently responds to each of Moshe's objections, reassuring him that everything will go well. Finally, Moshe has one last objection. He tells God, send the person you usually send, meaning Moshe's older brother, Aaron. And now, for the first time, God gets angry at Moshe. And he says, isn't Aaron the Levite your brother? He is able to speak well. And he's coming out to meet you, and he's going to rejoice in his heart. So what's going on here? What's going on is that Moshe was worried about the pride of his brother. He felt that Aaron might be upset if he'd be divested of the leadership position in favor of his younger brother Moshe. And God's telling him, you're wrong. Aaron's not going to be upset. He understands that everybody has a role. His role was to lead until now. Your role is to assume the leadership. And the great sage Rashi tells us that as a result of this exchange, Moshe lost the priesthood. He was supposed to be the Kohen Gadol, the high priest. And his children were supposed to be the priests after him. Instead, the priesthood was taken away from Moshe and given to Aaron. Why? Because God knew and was telling Moshe, in effect, you're wrong about your brother. He's not going to be jealous of you. So why would you think that he'd be jealous at being passed over? It must be that at some level you're self-projecting. If you were in his situation, the older brother, the current leader, and you were passed over in favor of your younger brother, you might be a little jealous. And you can't have any feeling like that if you're going to be a priest, let alone the high priest. Now, of course, Moshe worked on this. And to the extent he had some infinitesimal level of inappropriate ego, he certainly got rid of it. Because we see later in the Torah that Moshe is referred to as the single most humble person on the face of the earth. But it was a progression. There was growth. He had to work on it. Because we know that our leaders are not born, they're made through hard work. And that's why, unlike in other religions, in our religion, we don't mark or celebrate the birth date of our leaders. We record the date of their death, their yortzeit. Because when a person's born, he hasn't done anything yet. It's only at the time of a person's death that we can finally get the full measure of that person and see all that he has accomplished.